The test is in 4 parts: Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4. Now look at Part 1.
Part 1.
You will hear a man, Martin Hill, phoning an estate agent in order to find some accommodation. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 3.
Hello, Brindle's estate agents here. How may I help you?
Oh, good morning. I'm ringing to see what flats you have for rent at the moment.
Right. Can I start by just taking your name, Mr.
Hill. Martin Hill.
Right. And are you looking for a flat for yourself or, a family, perhaps?
Well, it's for 3 of us, myself and 2 friends. We're going to share together.
I see. What about employment? Are you all students?
Oh, no, we've all got full-time jobs. 2 of us work in the central bank, that's Chris and me, and Phil, that's the other one, is working for Hallam Cars, at the factory about 2 miles out of town.
I'll put you down as young professionals then. And I suppose you'll be looking for somewhere with 3 bedrooms?
Yeah, at least 3. But actually, we'd rather have a 4th room as well, if we can afford it, for friends staying over and stuff.
Is that with a living room to share, plus kitchen and bathroom?
Yeah, that sounds good. But we must have a bathroom with a shower. We don't mind about having a bath, but the shower's crucial.
OK, I'll just key that in. And are you interested in any particular area?
Well, the city centre would be good for me and Chris, so that's our first preference. But we'd consider anything in the west suburbs as well, really. Actually, for Phil, that'd be better, but he knows he's outnumbered. But we aren't interested in the north or the east of the city.
OK, I'm just getting up all the flats on our books.
Now you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10.
Just looking at this list here, I'm afraid there are only 2 that might interest you. Do you want the details?
OK, let me just grab a pen and some paper. Fire away.
This first one I'm looking at is in Bridge Street and very close to the bus station. It's not often that flats in that area come up for rent. This one's got 3 bedrooms, a bathroom and kitchen, of course, and a very big living room. That sounds a good size for you.
So what about the rent? How much is it a month?
The good news is that it's only £450 a month. Rents in that area usually reach up to $650 a month. But the landlord obviously wants to get a tenant quickly.
Yeah, it sounds like a bit of a bargain. What about transport for Phil?
Well, there'll be plenty of buses, so no problem for him to use public transport. But unfortunately there isn't a shower in the flat. And that location is likely to be noisy, of course.
OK, what about the other place?
Let's see. Oh, yes. Well, this one is in a really nice location, on Hills Avenue. I'm sure you know it. This looks like something a bit special. It's got 4 big bedrooms and, there's a big living room. And, Oh, this will be good for you. A dining room. It sounds enormous, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds great.
That whole area is being developed, and the flat's very modern, which I'm sure you'll like. It's got good facilities, including your shower, and of course it's going to be quiet, especially compared with the other place.
Better and better. But I'll bet it's expensive, especially if it's in that trendy area beside the park.
I'm afraid so. They're asking £800 a month for it.
Whoa, it sounds a lot more than we can afford.
Well, maybe you could get somebody else to move in too. I'll tell you what. Give me your address and I can send you all the details and photos, and you can see whether these two are worth a visit.
Thanks, that would be really helpful. My address is flat 5.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2. Part 2.
You will hear a tour of a newly renovated health club. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. As you listen to the first part of the talk, answer questions 11 to 15.
Thank you all for coming to see the new renovations to the Hertford Health Club. I know you'll be as pleased as I am to see the wonderful results of our months of hard work to improve the club and bring you the best facilities ever. We'll begin in here with the swimming pool. You'll notice the new colour of the adult pool, a lovely cool green. Now walk over here and look at the children's pool. It's the same green, but as you see, with brightly coloured sea creatures painted everywhere. Both of the pools needed painting, not only for maintenance, but I think the new colour greatly improves the atmosphere of this part of the club. Next, let's take a look at the locker rooms. Don't worry, there's no one using them just now. Doesn't it feel roomy in here? We've expanded both the men's and women's locker rooms, so now they'll be much more comfortable to use. There are bigger lockers, a good deal more room in the dressing area, and more places to store extra towels and equipment. Be careful as you walk through here. The floor's just been polished and may be a bit slippery. Let's go up to the exercise room next. Here, you'll notice a new floor. Walk on it. Doesn't that feel comfortable? It's a special material, softer than the old floor, an ideal surface for jogging and exercising. They had to move all the exercise equipment out while they were working on the floor, but don't worry, it will be brought back in before the end of today. Let's step outside now and look at the tennis courts. We haven't done a great deal here except to the equipment. We replaced all the nets and the ball throwing machine. Otherwise, everything is the same as it was before. Let's walk down this hallway, and here we are at the club store in its new location. We thought here by the entrance was a better place for it than where it used to be by the swimming pool. But it still has all the same items for sale, sports equipment and clothes in the club colours.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 16 to 20.
We're excited about the upcoming activities and events to take place in our newly renovated club. Now that the pools are ready for use again, swimming lessons will begin tomorrow for both adults and children. If you haven't signed up yet, you can stop by the office before you leave today and put your name on the list. If you're a tennis player, you'll be interested to hear about the tennis competition coming up on Wednesday. Players from different clubs all over the region will be participating. If you'd like to watch the event, tickets are available in the office. Also, I want to be sure you all know you're invited to our club party coming up next weekend. We're celebrating the completion of the renovation work, and we have a lot to celebrate. The entire renovation project was finished in just 9 months. That's 3 months less than the 12 months we'd originally planned on. We're proud of that, and proud that we came in under budget too. Because we've had such good results with this project, we're already planning the next one. We already have 2 indoor pools, and next year we plan to install an outdoor pool right next to the tennis courts. Details of these plans will be made available to all club members soon. All right, I think we've covered just about everything. Are there any questions?
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3. Part 3.
You will hear a lecture about the history of the tomato.
First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 25.
The tomato is a popular vegetable, which figures in the cuisine of many countries around the world. It is particularly prominent in Italian cooking, but it was unknown in Europe until Spanish explorers brought it back from the Americas. The tomato originated in the highlands of Peru. From there, it eventually found its way to Mexico, where it was cultivated by the Aztecs. The Aztec tomato wasn't the large red vegetable we know today. Rather, it was small and yellow. When this small round fruit arrived in Italy, it was named golden apple for its bright yellow color. You'll notice I just called it a fruit. That's because a tomato is botanically a fruit, even though most everyone calls it a vegetable. The actual word tomato comes from the Aztec name for the vegetable, meaning plump thing. The tomato arrived in Europe in the 1500s and quickly became a popular food in Spain and Italy. In the late 1600s, the Italians began publishing recipes that used tomatoes. The British, however, had a different attitude toward the vegetable. It was grown as an ornamental plant in Britain in the 1600s, but it wasn't eaten because it was thought to be poisonous. It wasn't until the 1700s that tomatoes became part of the daily diet in Britain.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
In the United States, tomatoes were also used as ornamental plants rather than as food for a long time. This attitude began to change in the 1800s. In 1806, a gardener's calendar mentioned that tomatoes could be used to improve the flavor of soups and other foods. Thomas Jefferson did much to enhance the tomato's reputation as a food. He first served tomatoes to visitors at his home in Virginia in 1809. Then in 1820, a man named Robert Gibbon Johnson decided it was time to discard once and for all the idea that tomatoes were poisonous. To prove his point, he ate 1 kilo of ripe red tomatoes in public. 2,000 people gathered to watch this feat, which took place on the steps of the courthouse in Salem, Massachusetts. Amazingly enough, Johnson survived this stunt. The popularity of the tomato as a food began growing rapidly. Soon people all around the country were eating tomatoes. By the 1830s, American newspapers and magazines were publishing thousands of tomato recipes. However, all those recipes involved using tomatoes in some cooked form. Tomato salads and sandwiches were still unknown. It wasn't until a century later, in the 1930s, that it became popular for people to eat raw tomatoes.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Part 4.
You will hear a media studies tutor giving a lecture about news sources. You now have 30 seconds to read questions 31 to 35.
Okay, now many of you will have heard about the predicted death of newspapers, as people increasingly access the TV and the Internet for their news. Today, I want to look at the USA, which has very advanced news sources, to see if this is actually true. In the USA, the main news sources without doubt are TV, the Internet, and the press. That is, traditional newspapers. And although they are each surviving and growing, they are also changing. Obviously, TV news has been around for a while, and the early evening bulletins, when people get in from work, are very popular. I suppose we traditionally think of the morning newspaper arriving on our doorstep with the daily news. Interestingly, this is not borne out by the statistics, which show that readership in the U.S. is much higher when people have time to relax, when they're not working, especially on Sundays. The Internet is also a popular weekend activity, but shows no variation with weekday access. So people are using the different sources in different ways. Interestingly, local radio has been hit less by the grip of quite strong local newspapers than by the Internet, which is seen to offer a better regional service. But just because the Internet is seen as the new force in news media does not mean it is dominant. Television has, of course, been global for a while. But now technological changes, which have fueled the rise of online news, have also allowed newspapers to print and distribute editions across the world. In fact, Internet news, which is seen as the big competitor for traditional markets, does not offer that much variety. Often, the sources are the online versions of the newspapers, whereas television, in order to offer something different, has had to come up with a much more mixed bag of reporting, from hard news to light reports on celebrity events. Another issue is reliability. The Internet is virtually unregulated, so anything can be reported there, whether true or not. Journalists on newspapers have fought a long, hard battle to fight intervention and to retain the freedom of the press. Television, however, is seen as critical to political power and has become subject to harsh controls about what it can or cannot say.
You now have 30 seconds to read questions 36 to 40.
Now, one very critical factor in keeping newspapers alive and well in the USA has been their approach to advertising. Obviously, newspapers are heavily dependent on advertising revenue, and they have become more and more imaginative in what they offer, in order to make sure that advertisers use them and not other news sources. This has meant that, contrary to popular belief, newspapers now have a significantly higher profit margin than the rest of American industry. So, how have they managed to raise advertising revenue in this way? Well, they have put a lot of effort into developing and maintaining a very strong association with the retail trade. And they've come up with a winner. A critical tool in their sales plan has been suggesting that the adverts they run can have vouchers. This has been enormously effective because they have found that not only do more people buy the paper to get the discounts, but also that this inevitably means much higher sales for the clients who advertised. As well as doing this, the newspapers have also introduced aggressive sales campaigns over the last few years. This has resulted in a significant and continuing rise in the number of advertisers prepared to pay the extra for full-page ads. So, what I would like to move on to...
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
And today in this video I will discuss with you a writing task 1. So without wasting any time, let's see our question. Our question for today is: the diagram below shows information about member attendance at various clubs in a metro city. Summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. So the diagram gives us the information about the number of visitors visited different clubs. So these are the 4 different clubs: French club, British club, American club and Japanese club. So they visited it in a metro city. Okay. So It's a bar graph and the months were from January to July on the x-axis, and on the y-axis the number of visitors which were in thousand. That means 20,000, 40,000, 60,000 and so on. So let's have a look how we will answer this question. So this is the rendered bar graph represents the data about people who attended different clubs in a metropolitan city. So this is just the paraphrasing of the given question, and in the overview we will write a myopic look at the graph makes it conspicuous that the entry in British club remained stagnant. Stagnant means constant, and highly preferred club was American club in the given months from January to July. So from January to July the American club was highly preferred. That means high number of people visited American club, but British club remained stagnant, constant. Okay, let's have a look. That second one is the British club, and you can see it remained almost constant in the January, February, March, April, May, June and July. So it remained almost constant. And American club was the third number one. It was famous in every month. Okay, it was highly preferred. People visited over there, okay, in huge numbers in every month. So moving further, it is clearly seen that the number of visitors to French club had been almost constant in the first 6 months, amounting to 6,000. That means they were 60,000 in numbers in the French club, almost constant in the first 6 months. In the first 6 months they were constant. Let's see. So the first one is the French club, and you can see it was almost 60,000 in every 6 months. In the month of January, February, March, April, May and July, they were almost 60,000, the black ones, but in the July they increased. Okay, so but in the month of July they increased to almost 78,000. So the number became 78,000. You can see it became 78,000 in the month of July. Now the trend of regularity in British club was similar to French club, as number of people visited British club were around 60,000 for every month, and no visible change was there. Okay, we can't see any change in that. So we have discussed about that British were at 60,000 in every month of the year. Now moving towards Japanese club, nearly 39,000 visits were in January and estimated to about 47,000 in April. So let's have a look. So it's nearly 39,000 in January and it remained constant. So we don't have mentioned the February and March, but in April it slightly increased. Okay, and estimated to about 47,000 in April. But after that visits plunged, that means decreased, and remained steady at 43,000, means constant at 43,000. After that what happened? The people decreased to 43,000. That means number of visits decreased to 43,000. Finally, the clear winner in the terms of number of visitor was American club. Okay, it can be seen that it is a clear winner with nearly 80,000 visitors for the first 4 months, and then the number soared to nearly 97,000 in June. Soared means increased. You can also write increase exorbitantly to near, significantly, gradually, whatever you want to write. Okay, so the number soared to nearly 97,000 in June and settled at about 85,000 in July. So let's have a look what happened. So firstly it was 80,000, you can see, from January to April, but in May there is just a small increase was there, but in June it reached to soared to nearly 97,000. So you can see this is 97,000 almost, and in June, and settled at, means in June, and after that it settled at 85,000. Okay.
for you. I would request you to watch my full video so that you can get an idea, the whole idea, how you can write an essay, how you can, use different kind of vocabulary, a wide range of vocabulary, complex sentences, different kind of sentences, synonyms word, and the sort of, complexity you need to write to score band 8 plus or perfect 9. So let's get started. Today's writing topic is more and more companies are allowing employees to work at home. Do you think this is positive or negative development? I always advise my student to devote some time to spend some time to understand your statement, and it will help you to write your whole essay. Don't start writing your essay, writing your topic immediately. Don't start writing your essay abruptly, please. So understand your statement properly, and you have to fulfill the demand of your statement or your topic. More and more companies are allowing employees to work at home. I mean, there are so many companies and they are permitting their the people who are working over there to work from home. Do you think this is a positive or negative development? So I understood what I have to write about. What is the demand of the statement? And I have written introduction for you. So very impressive introduction. The computer's most significant breakthrough and easy access to the internet have transformed the way people work nowadays. Very nice starting. This is, I always advise my student to write 3 sentence introduction. First, general statement. Second, rephrase your statement, your essay, your topic, and then make it clear what are you going to write in your main body paragraph 1 and main body paragraph 2. Fine. So my first sentence is the computer's most significant breakthrough and easy access to the internet have transformed the way people work nowadays. So most significant breakthrough is nice phrase. Significant breakthrough, it means very important invention. And easy access to the internet. Easy access, it means when people can easily use internet at home nowadays. Have transformed mean have changed the way people work nowadays. Very nice. And increasing number of corporate. Here you can see more and more companies. So I have changed the word increasing number of corporate. So synonyms word. It means rephrase your statement. Write different word but meaning should be the same. Allow their employees to work from home. And countless freelancers are earning their living by doing the same. Countless mean a lot of. Numerous. Okay, freelancers mean the people who are not expert but they know how to work. They work from home, so they are earning their living by doing the same. Nice. From my perspective, it has more positive than adverse effects. So here I have given my opinion. Do you think this is positive or negative development? So I have answered here. I made it clear what kind of essay I'm going to write. So from my perspective, it has more positive than adverse effects. I mean, I'm going to talk about more advantages, and there are some disadvantages as well. There are some negative impact as well, but there are so many positive impact. So in my first paragraph, I'm going to write the positive impacts of working from home. And here you can see the solution problem can arise. What kind of problem we can face over here. So first of all, my main body paragraph 1. The most apparent benefit of working from sitting at home is maintaining a work-life balance. Very nice. The most apparent benefit of working from sitting at home. So it's a very nice way to start your main body paragraph 1. So the most apparent benefit. Apparent mean which is very easy to see, very easy to understand, very clear. So the most apparent benefit of working from sitting at home is maintaining a work-life balance. Very nice. Work-life balance. We can work sitting at home side by side. We can take care about the people of the family as well. So which is the need of our idiomatic language? Which is the need of our? It means it is very, very important to maintain work-life balance nowadays. Because of hectic and grueling work schedule. So for busy schedule, you can write hectic and grueling work schedule. Very nice. People are unable to take care of their family, leading to dissatisfaction and poor relationship among them. So you can see if they are not able to take care of their family, then it can lead to dissatisfaction and poor relationship among them. If they work independently, they are much happier and satisfied. So because sitting at home, if they work from home, they can work independently and they would be much happier and satisfied. They have sufficient time to devote not only to the members of the family, but also to meet the deadline of their projects assigned by the boss. So I have just spotted idea. This is the main idea why it is important. What are the positive point of working from home? And I have just spotted these ideas. So they have sufficient time to devote not only to the members of the family, but also, so it's very nice complex sentence, to meet the deadline of their projects. So meet the deadline, it means to finish their work on time. Assigned by the boss, assigned mean given by their boss. For instance, those who are not morning person mean, suppose I'm not morning person, it means it is very difficult for me to get up early in the morning and start working. So the people who are not morning person can accomplish their task. Accomplish their task mean can complete their task in hand by late night without feeling overburdened and pressurized. So it's very nice way. These are the positive points working from home. Saving overhead expenses and being environmentally friendly is another significant advantage of working from home. This is another advantage working from home. Saving overhead expenses. Overhead expenses mean the money you spend that support your business but don't generate your revenue. So overhead expenses, I have explained over here, don't worry about it. And environmentally friendly. If we work from home, it would have positive impact on our environment as well. So on the one hand, the employer can save money by not arranging office furniture and other equipment for his employees. On the other hand, the employees does not have to pay for buying a car or other vehicles. So these are overhead expenses. So they don't have to do all this money. How they can save money by doing all these things. Commuting will also aggravate the problem of pollution. Commuting, it mean if they are not allowed to work from home, they have to move from their houses to their offices by transport, by using vehicles. So that is commuting. Very nice word. Will also aggravate the problem of pollution. Will aggravate mean it will increase the problem of. It will be more serious problem. And therefore it's a win-win situation for both of them. Win-win situation. Very nice word. Both of them, employer and employees, will take advantages of it. However, one serious problem that can arise from this is lack of motivation. There are some, I have already explained over here in my introduction, more advantages, more positive points than adverse effects. There are some adverse impacts as well, negative impact. So however, one serious problem that can arise from this is a lack of motivation and isolation. So however, it's a very nice way to start. However, it means I have written over here something contrary. It's a contrary. However, so it means what I was writing over here, that is the opposite of it. I'm going to write something opposite. However, very nice cohesive device. One serious problem that can arise from this lack of motivation and isolation. Isolation means we feel alone. Working alone requires a great deal of self-motivation, and sometimes a person can feel lonely, which is not healthy and can pave the way of stress, depression, and other mental disorders. So working alone requires a great deal. Require mean need. Great deal of mean a lot of. Self-motivation mean you must be self-motivated. And sometimes a person can feel lonely. If you work from home, nobody is there to inspire you, to encourage you, to motivate you. So which is not healthy and can pave the way. Can pave the way it can help to feel stressful. It can pave the way it can lead to stress, depression, and other mental disorders mental problems. Moreover, in offices, the team is always there to encourage those who are unable to meet the target with detrimental impact on the productivity of a company. Here you can see I wrote over here meet the deadline, and I have written here meet the targets. So I am using synonyms word, showing that I have no lack of idea. I'm master of English. I have no problem with writing. Using different kind of word, complex sentences or that sort of thing. You can see you got, I think. So moreover, in office, the team is always there to encourage those who are unable to meet the targets with detrimental effect on the productivity of a company. Team is always there to encourage, to motivate you. For the people especially who are not able to meet the target, who don't finish their project on time. And it can have detrimental impact, negative effect on the productivity of the company. And that's how I have made conclusion. You can see over here. In conclusion, I'd like to assert it's a very nice way to conclude your essay. Conclusion means summary of your main idea. Go for it. In conclusion, I'd like to assert, you can memorize it and you can use in your essays as well. In conclusion, I'd like to assert mean to say firmly that although working from home may have some drawbacks, I have already explained over here. Some drawbacks mean some negative point. The trend is increasing day by day, and if handled carefully, but the trend is increasing day by day, and if handled carefully, can work wonders for most employees. Can work wonders can be very, very beneficial for most of the people who are working from home and doing so. So hopefully this would be very, very beneficial for you, very, very I think helpful for you, and you got a lot of ideas how to write essay to get band 8 or perfect 9. But so this is the end of my essay for today. But don't forget to subscribe our channel, like, comment, and press the bell icon so that you can get notifications of all new videos. Thank you so much, and good luck with your IELTS preparation. Bye bye for now. See you in my next video.